Hello. Welcome to Contra Gentile Season 3, Episode 28.
Mm-hmm.
We have pizza today.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy will be moaning.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't had a food episode. Welcome to Contra Gentile Season. You know, where's that one guy that left us an Apple review, like about our, what was it, the philosophy of mind episode we did? And he was like, it's like, you guys talked too much in the beginning, and then it took too long to get to the content of what the show is about and this whole thing. And I was like, dude, have you heard our peanut butter episode? What are you talking about? What the show is about? That was funny. Anyway.
Which is so good.
I know you're like Hawaiian. It's proper crust. It's how it should be.
I know.
And Pizza Man, I think the last time.
The sauce is great.
Yeah, the last time we had Pizza Man was with Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in like September or something. I don't remember. But anyway, we would like to announce that I could actually just go and hit it. We are starting a Patreon for the show. Mm-hmm. We are nearing, what number is this one? This one's either 94 or 95 total. And yeah, start to see what support we can get. We'd like to kind of grow the quote unquote ecosystem of the show. I think we wanted to start doing some like additional content, quote unquote. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you were talking about like a daily thing, or I don't know, but anyway, it's $5 a month. We're going to be doing
I think the daily thing is kind of what we really want to aim towards. Yeah. So hopefully by fall or something, we could start doing that. And
like a daily 30-minute thing.
Yeah, and I think the content for that one is going to try to tailor more towards, I think we talk so much at length with our basic fundamental principles, and it'll be interesting to give commentary of contemporary world events on a daily basis, given that kind of framework. Yeah,
so we'll do a daily about, and again, we don't necessarily have a timeline yet. It's by mid-fall or something, but we're going to be.
I mean, I think that'll be contingent on how much support we get.
Yeah. So, depending on how fast we can start to have a little bit of, money helps you prioritize things. So, if we can prioritize coming in here every day for 30 minutes, doing a not new news show, but a current event commentary, so that we can dedicate the main show on the weekend to more, what would you say, universal conversations about, long form metaphysics and stuff, because it seems like whenever we record this, it's the episode is either or.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes. And I think you and I get we wrap up if we're like, oh, we should talk about Ukraine or something, we wrap up real fast.
Yeah, we do.
We're like, okay, I would like to give our commentary on stuff that's going on, but I don't think it fills a 2-hour thing.
Yeah. But I think like a 30 to 40 minute episode, we definitely could. And I think it could be interesting. And it'll probably also be, because, I definitely watch a lot of the daily shows and stuff. So I think it'll also be interesting to point out any kind of differences that we have with any of the more popular ones that are out there. Not really to dig on them or anything, but just to really see where the distinction is between like American conservatism and I guess like the more I don't
Contra Gentiles brand.
Yeah, the Contra Gentiles brand.
Branded ideas.
Of Catholicism and social order and whatnot. Yeah. Because there are differences, and I think a lot of times it's kind of interesting when I listen to them, what are the things that I would disagree with, things that I would agree with, and all that stuff. So, I think it would be an interesting show, and it's something that you've been wanting to do it for a
year or two.
Yeah,
you were talking about it at the beginning.
Yeah. Because I do, but the problem is that if I don't have the money, it's hard to take away other time that I could make the money. Yeah. To do that. And so, I would definitely want to try to start focusing on that, man. I think it'll be fun.
Yeah. And I will say that as of now, we'll be doing I don't know if it's gonna be Patreon exclusive or if it's gonna be part of the show once a month, the main show. But we'll be doing a patron only, patron submission question and answer. Whether or not that's something we record separately and release only on Patreon, or we do it on the show and people who subscribe can ask questions or something. We've both are very much against paywalling the main show, what we've been doing for almost 2 years now. 2 years as of 2 weeks from now.
Is it?
Yeah, I think we're doing this at about our 2-year anniversary of starting the show. So, yeah. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, yeah, I'll have I'll probably link that to the Twitter account, and I might try to include it in the show description so that people.
Yeah, for anybody that wants to support us, anybody that enjoys the shows, we would definitely appreciate it. Yeah, more than anything.
Yeah, we've been doing this for a long time. So.
Yeah, and we'd like to give back in terms of even more content. Because there's a lot of other ideas that I don't want to unveil right now, but that we've been talking about for over the past year. That could be even more entertaining. Yeah.
The Contragentilist Empire expands.
Yes, yeah.
Anyway, you're good. You really. Is that your favorite kind of pizza, Hawaiian?
Yeah, I guess if it's something that I can't modify, Or I always like Hawaiian as a base, but if I get to modify, I normally like to add jalapenos to it.
Oh, of course,
as well as feta.
I think disliking pineapple on pizza is like a little baby trait. Only little baby children
like pineapples on pizza.
No, they dislike them. Anytime someone's like, "Oh, pineapple doesn't belong on pizza," it's like, grow up. It's beautiful.
Some people get really passionate about it.
I know the passion is feigned. They're not. It's because it's a meme. It's like an internet. It's like a Coke, and no one cares that much about Coke versus Pepsi.
Right.
No one cares. That's not. It's a lie. It's not true.
They did care about Nintendo versus Sega, but
yes, but they were doing things.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, the like real vehement anger about pineapple on pizza is like pineapple's been on pizza for a very long time. I don't know what battle they're fighting. I don't know what the crusade's for. I guess should we address the episode last week a little bit?
Oh yeah.
So we received mixed feedback, largely not like equally mixed, but I got a lot of feedback about the conversation we had with my mom last week, and it was probably the most impactful conversation we've ever had. Remember, you texted me the next day and you were like, wow, what that was that was so heavy. The last like 30-40 minutes of that was heavy. The room was like, the air was sucked out of the room. Like, it was probably the most intense it's probably the most intense conversation I've ever had with my mom in my life, which wasn't, and I didn't intend to just record that for its own sake.
Right, yeah.
But there were a small number of people who thought that we brought my mom on intentionally to humiliate her or something.
Right. That wasn't the case.
It's just, I don't know how anyone could. She's been on it before. She knows you and I. Yeah. She knows where we stand. It's just, I don't know how someone could listen to that. Listen to the like realness of the authenticity, the like genuinely heartfelt nature of the conversation. Be like, oh yeah, they brought her on to humiliate her.
Yeah,
it's like, yeah, my mom's not.
I think there is this. So I encountered this both, I think, online and in real life as well. I think there is this weird mentality that some people have, where they always interpret an engagement of disagreement as necessarily hostile or intentionally hostile. And so many people are like, for example, if I'm talking with them, and if any way I get a little more passionate, then they interpret that as being mean, and they also interpret it as me just trying to push my own ideas onto other people.
Yeah.
And I hear that many times, like, well, that's your idea.
Like you're just browbeating them?
Exactly right. And it's like, I don't, that's bizarre, because I don't know what has happened to the culture for them to really believe that. Because this is the one thing I would say I enjoyed about academia. And I don't know if it was just because it was in Europe and not in the US, but at least in European academia, that was never presumed. It was never assumed that you're just being a dick, right? Just it was always presumed that you are trying to discuss something with someone, even if you yell at each other, even if you get a little more emotional in the argument. It was never to the point that either of us just thought of the other person as malicious, right? We never really resorted to ad hominems. We never resorted to any of that. But what I've really noticed, just discussing with people at large, is that those who were never in academia actually never take it that way. They normally take it as you are being purposefully hostile, and that you're just hating them.
Because there was a moment in that recording where I remember exactly how she worded it, but she's like, I don't know what to say. You're just gonna tear apart anything I say.
Yes, yeah.
And we actually did a good job of assuaging her of that.
Yeah.
I've talked to her since then. She really enjoyed it. She's just as hard in her kind of pre-assumed positions as she was when we started, which I thought was interesting. Yeah. Based on how the conversation went.
I know, yeah.
She was texting me. She's like, oh, there's so much I should have said. And I'm like, there isn't anything you could say.
Just kind of reminds you of Shutter Island. Yeah. It's, like you get them to that point, but then it just gets reversed back.
Yeah. It was weird. As I was at her friend's house. I really want. She has a friend who she taught with. Yeah. For a long time, they've been very good friends. My mom's like a conservative, and this friend's like a flaming, like Obama Biden liberal. So they can't talk about politics, or it gets really vicious. Yeah. Really uncomfortable. But she makes like the best margaritas I've ever had. And apparently it's because she uses 1 part Cointreau to 1 part tequila instead of because Cointreau is super expensive. Yeah. So normally it's like cut quite a bit. Yeah. But I'm going to make myself a pile. She uses a ton of Cointreau, and it's just like the best. I want her to like make us a jug for the show sometime just to have it. But
was she friendly with you?
Oh yeah. It was but I was over there, and she was just talking about how all the things she wished she'd said, and she's like, but everything she wishes she said is something she did say. And
is her friend who's a lib? Is she a Protestant as well?
Yes, but like extremely not. I don't know if she's Methodist. She might be Methodist, but she's like the super progressive sect of Methodism. So I think the Methodist Church is splitting or something. There's something about the Methodists are splitting up. Yeah. Bands breaking up for the Methodists.
Probably.
I don't know, but yeah, that was to me, that was like one of the most rewarding conversations I've ever had. And probably the best conversation I'll ever have with someone who thinks the way that my mom does. And it's weird to me that people are like, oh, denounce contra gentiles because they intentionally humiliated Grant's mom. And she articulated all the positions exactly how everybody else does. So it's not.
There was no humiliation. We weren't pointing at her.
No. But it was just like, especially if that's something you believe. If you believe what my mom is saying, and you're watching it be like shredded, then it might be upsetting.
See, that it goes back to that quality that I mean. Is I find it bizarre that they think non-ad hominem attacks is an attack on somebody. It's not. If I'm discussing with a Protestant, and I'm showing or arguing the reasons why Protestantism is a wrong ideology, it has no bearing on the way I feel about the person. But they take it as if I am insulting them as a person. And so then they start insulting me immediately. It's like, well, I mean, why do you have to jump on that?
The online anarchists are the same way.
Yeah. The consensualists are terrible that way, they just you can never really have a discussion with them because all they want to do in the end is just attack you as a person rather than that. So if they want to play that game, I'll play that game.
You did.
Yes.
Yeah, you were banned.
Yeah.
One of your first your
Fully suspended.
was fully suspended. Rest in peace, Scala Amoris. Pound me too.
Yeah, but it's because it's bizarre. It's like that's
You lit all the group chats up. Everybody was sending screenshots. Or did you say like, okay, and you're a retarded faggot? Everybody's like, whoa.
I mean, yeah, if that's the game wants to play, let's do it. You know, I could troll. I could be a complete dickhead if you want.
Yeah, they insult you, but then when you insult them back, they point at you and go like, "Look, he's insulting me." It's like,
I know.
What did you just say?
Exactly. It was like there's a difference between disagreement and attacking the ideas and then attacking the person. And if you attack the person, any of us can play that game. That's just a fallacious argument. You can make no sense. I didn't even get to all the insults. I was kind of like writing.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, I was talking about how I'm gonna that I think he should eat his mom's pussy, or that he should consume the womb in which he was grown in. Like there was many things I was because when I'm typing this, I'm laughing. I'm like,
you're like a psycho when you go like monkey mode.
Oh yeah.
When you go like ape mode, you'll be arrested.
Yeah,
like, the feds will show up to your house
someday. Someday it might happen. Because what else you want me to do? You want to discuss? I will discuss. I will discuss rationally. I'll be cordial. I'll never call somebody an idiot. I will never, point at them and laugh. Or you want
you
to
lack reading comprehension. You lack reading.
Yeah.
Comprehension. Stop.
It's like, okay, that one thing that's not clever. That's kind of a stupid claim. And secondly, you can't make a claim that way without backing it up at some point. To say simply you really lack, okay, what is it that I am lacking?
What am I not getting?
Yes. And if it is, you didn't really need that first clause. You should just simply say, this is what is being meant. You don't need to say you lack something. That's just intentionally ad hominem.
It is, yeah.
And so, yeah, you want to do ad hominem? Then I'll do ad hominem. You want to discuss? I will do a discussion, right? But yeah. Yeah, I guess it probably does come off as psycho. Or maybe
it is. I mean, it is psycho. It's fun. It's funny.
Yeah, but some people thought I was mad. I wasn't mad. I was laughing. I was laughing.
Oh, I know you were.
Yeah, the times that I actually do get mad, then people tend to know, because then that's actual wrath and actual anger, and so I normally would.
Yeah, I've probably seen you do that once or twice, arguing with people.
Oh, argue with people. I know. Even then, I would never say that I was pointing to there's probably 3 times in my life where I think I actually was truly wrathful. Right.
I know one of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
That's not funny for the audience to hear.
No, it isn't. Yeah. Let's not go there. Right. Yes. I was nowhere near that state of mind. And there's nothing that stops me. If I actually was mad, I would find them and I will do something physical to them. There's no doubt about it.
But you're not mad.
I'm not mad. Yeah. So I'm saying I leave it alone. I'll just make a few comments and.
You're not saying you're going to hunt these people down.
No.
You would.
If I was actually upset. Oh yeah.
Yeah, but you're not.
Yeah. I have enough money. I have enough miles saved up. I could fly anywhere. But I'm not. I was not
to take a trip.
Yeah.
Don't call me.
but yeah, I was not at all to that point, and so
I know you're not.
I thought it was funny. He probably is a little butthurt by it, but whatever. Yeah. Let's just hope he takes my advice. That's all.
Yeah. Some people, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't know how everybody handles online. I don't even know what you call that. It's not discourse. It's being like heated engagement online affects everybody differently.
Yeah, it does.
To a really wild degree.
Yeah.
Like when it's no stakes, I don't feel anything. I don't know.
I like a lot of these people that I talk on Twitter.
Yeah.
But if Twitter banned me forever, it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
Just move on with my life. It's just the way that is. And so
The show is doing fine before you were there.
Right, yeah.
It's not like you have anything to promote alone.
No.
Yeah.
Just having fun with it whenever I'm bored.
Mm-hmm.
But man, people get butthurt fast.
I know they do.
I don't even know who is quicker, either the Protestants or the consensualists. Those two, even quicker than atheists. I find atheists to be a little more rational and coherent to a certain point.
Well, at least they care to look rational and coherent.
Yeah, at least that. But you have to really push them to a point where they start doing ad hominem attacks first. Yeah, but I never start with ad hominems. I only do it if people do it to me first.
No. And then you're psycho. once you're like, oh my God, I get to do this? It's my turn? Anyway, we can move on from that. So, one of the questions I have received from at least 24 people is, at one point in history, I tweeted something like, I enjoy making atheists admit, or at least contemporary, like non-atheists, materialists, theological materialists, or whatever you want to call an atheist now.
The new atheists.
Yeah, new atheists. I enjoy making them admit they believe in God without saying God. You can convince someone they believe in God. I'm just not explaining it. That's what God is. I've just received like 2 or 3 dozen people asking me that, and we've talked about the problem of change a lot. Which is that a strategy for it?
For the problem of change?
Yeah. How would you go about that? Because
normally, when I tend to do that, it's actually it's deriving from a position where both the atheist and I believe in objective truth, and so the contemporary atheists all have the argument where they're saying that their position is not that they're denying the existence of God, but that there is no evidence or good reason to believe in the existence of God. So they're trying to position themselves to an almost a non-position, right? So they actually make it easier for this, because if you're going to discuss like with a Nietzschean, like somebody who is actual Nietzschean, I think many contemporary Nietzscheans are just new atheists with the flares and absurdity of Nietzsche rather than actual Nietzschean ideas. And so with the contemporary atheist, they want to position themselves with a non-position. With a non-position, then I'm like, okay, well, whatever. And if they say, well, there's no reason to believe in God, there's no deity, I'll be like, well, if by this you mean, that there is no individual super being that exists in the world transcendentally beyond time, then I say yes, I am agreement. I am in agreement with you, and so we could kind of move on from that point, because then I'm not going to discuss it anymore, right? There's no reason to continue discussing that position, because we're both in agreement.
They do reject God.
Yeah. Okay, we're both in agreement. If you want to call me atheist right now, then call me atheist. I don't give a shit. But because they're basing it on inductive reasoning, basically saying that the inference is the best explanation is that there does not necessitate postulation of God in order to comprehend or understand the beginning of the universe, and so on and so forth. Since they want to begin with that position, they're beginning with a position of truth. And so the whole time then you just argue with truth, and then I would say, well, how are you defining truth then? Because if you're saying that it is, most of them believe that they're not skeptics, right? They're not the extreme skeptics who doesn't know whether they exist or the universe exists. They begin with a position that they're aware. Like if you read Sam Harris, he begins with a position, that the world is real, the universe is real, I am real.
He says there is objective truth.
Yes, there is objective truth. And many of the new atheists begin with that position. Once they begin with that position, then you can begin to discuss with them, well, what is the grounding of this truth? And they normally then refer to empirical things, right? They refer to empirical sciences, the things that they could see, the things that they can't see, and so on and so forth. Once they get to that point, so, okay, well, if you're basing knowledge on empiricism, I'm fine with that. We could begin with that because at least you could say, like in a Thomistic sense, Aquinas believes that knowledge begins with empiricism, even though it ends with abstraction, as opposed to thinking that it begins with abstraction and then you understand. And so if it begins with that, then we're on board, right? We're both in agreement there.
And that's just because knowledge begins with the senses.
Right? Yeah, it begins with the senses. And so with that, then I begin to ask just basic questions of the way the things exist. It doesn't require that much comprehension of physics. It doesn't really comprehend that much comprehension of biology. Just basic things that anybody learns in grade school. That's all it really needs. I think most people kind of know. And so with that, then that point I think is where it gets to the problem of change, because then you simply say, okay, well, if it is the case that I understand things from my perception, and the fundamental thing that we all could agree that is real or is the physical reality in which we exist, that I'm existing in this world, and that we have this shared experience. Let's then try to comprehend the nature of these things then. And then once you could comprehend the nature of the things, you just get into the four causes of reality of Aristotle. And with that, then you can come down to the first principle of what makes anything to be at all, that they all are sharing in this act of to be. And so the entire time you never have to use the word God. You're just using their words and then leading them to the idea of first principle, that the first principle cannot be pure potency. For pure potency, as we already know through contemporary physics, is really nothing. It's empty space. It's emptiness, right? And or that if you go to quantum mechanics, it is like a spontaneous placement of electrons that is here, there, and nowhere. And so there is no concreteness when it comes to pure matter. So pure potency is just pure potent. They're not. It's never actual. That there has to be a state of pure act in which all things that are actually real that I simply need to posit, because if I'm going to begin to posit a multiverse theory, I am breaking basic rules of Occam's razor, and in a way, the Palean and the Protestant view of God would be more rational than the multiverse theory, because at least they posit a single state of being, which is a super being that made all things, rather than positing an infinite amount of universes. And so even in that position, I try not to bring that up, but in reality, that's what it is. I mean, you either can posit one thing that is never seen, or you could posit an infinite amount of things that are never seen, because none of us has ever seen a multiverse, right? We have never experienced,
But even then, what the multiverse thing?
Yeah.
Just that there are an infinite number of multiverses does not mean they don't also partake of God.
It doesn't, exactly.
It's not an argument that refutes that. They also would be.
Yeah, because again, that exists only purely potent. Yeah. And so showing that pure act really is the most rational position one can take of our first principles. Because even the potential realities are partaking, at least, of that which is purely actual. Then they come to the same conclusion that Aristotle.
So why do they go to multiverse theory? To explain why things are the way they are.
Yeah. Well, to explain that you don't necessitate a God for the reality. That this is just one possible reality amongst an infinite possible realities.
Which is true. It is the reality,
right? But they're saying that exists only potentially, as well as every other potential reality.
I don't know how one would get there. I don't.
Because then what is it that actualizes it? It will be human consciousness. So then we become God.
But we didn't actualize the other realities because we're not there.
Yeah, and so that's why they could recognize the incoherent nature there. But you have to point it out to them, because right now the physics of it claims that it is the perception of man that places the actualization of electrons, rather than a principle outside of man.
Physics says that?
Yes, and the multiverse theory does.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah,
that's not a physical. That's not a physics claim. It's metaphysics. I know, but it's just, it's not a physics. You can't observe that that's the case, so it has to be a metaphysical claim. It's not.
Yes, I mean technically, I think you're right, but unfortunately, it falls under the umbrella of physics.
But you also just said technically I'm right.
Contemporary
so that's
studies,
all
yes.
I care about.
Yes,
I know it. It's just I'm being annoying for fun.
No, yes,
I'm not.
No,
I know what people mean when they say physics. But like it's not.
Yeah.
It's
It's because they
that's
want
not
to.
a claim you derive from observation.
No, it definitely isn't.
Yeah.
It's purely theoretical. It's theoretical. I mean, the only thing that they could claim is through observation is that there is no machinery that detects the placement of things, but when you look at it with a human eye, it is there, right?
The electron.
Yeah. And so it's also in a way they want to then attribute the actualization of the electron to the observer.
So that is actually
Yeah.
It is actually an empirical.
Yeah, it is in the end.
Okay, so that is physics.
Yeah.
Okay, now you've explained it. Okay.
Yeah. But the reason why that does not hold up to scrutiny is obviously then it would be then through the human consciousness that I could actualize anything. And obviously I can't. There has to be something actual outside of me that is actualizing it. It can't be human consciousness in the end.
So I just actualize things that I trip over?
Yeah, and then that's what's stupid about it. Because in the end, it's incoherent.
Like if I'm walking backwards and fall over a chair,
right?
like
Yeah,
I just materialize this chair.
Yes,
behind me
yeah. And I remember
to trip myself.
Reading Sam Harris, this is where he brings in the psychedelics because he says this brings you into an altered consciousness in which what you are seeing is actually real because you are in an altered conscious state, which,
is the opposite.
Yes.
Of the truth. But
but so yeah, that's normally how I discuss with an atheist because I'm simply using their language and their frameworks to show that even in their framework, you must posit reality as objective and actual, and not merely subjective.
Well, there has to be a pure active being of which all things that exist partake.
Yeah.
And once you go, okay, yes, and you're like, God.
Yeah. And then
that's what we mean by God.
Yes, that is what we mean by it. Yeah.
That's what God is.
Yeah. And then they get upset still, They're like, no, but that's not what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah.
Well, you don't have to use that word. But
yeah, you're already like every new atheist is actually a theist in the true sense of the word, right?
Yeah.
A theist is being the end of knowledge, that there are first principles. Again, a real atheist is Nietzsche, one who believes in absurdity, that there is no coherent anything.
Foucault's the real
nihilist. Yes, Foucault's the real nihilist. It's like I appreciate the way that he died. It was like, no, that is he lived it. Yes.
AIDS orgy.
Yeah.
You think he'd have monkeypox now?
Probably. He loved children. He loved the beautiful boy.
Yeah. It's your favorite phrase.
Yeah, that's normally, and that's why when I discuss with people, I say that I have an easier time with atheists than I do like with Protestants because of the fact that
they're still trying to know anything.
Yeah, there's I never have to get into the weeds of history. I never have to get into
because they're
reading scripture or whatever. Yeah,
new atheist theory isn't dependent on history per se.
It isn't. Yeah,
it's just they're thinking, okay, then that was the case then. Why do I care what those people did?
Exactly. Yeah.
What do I care? What do I care what Luther did when, to whom, and why?
So if I could
it has nothing to do.
If I could stick with the reason, it's much easier to discuss with people. When people begin to go outside of reason, which I think is both what the Protestants and consensualists do, they go to a state where they're kind of redefining either historical realities. I mean, honestly, for them to claim
ancient Ireland
monarchy, that monarchical rule is anarchical, is one of the most absurd things that I don't even know how to respond to that. Why? Because they're families. It's a natural development of a structure with families and ordering things around. Yeah, that's monarchy.
That's rule.
Yes. I mean,
You know what the beautiful thing about monarchy is? You can name the ruler.
you can't exactly.
The one guy.
I mean, it was to that point. I was like, what the fuck? There is nothing that you could.
Amanda want that one maybe?
Oh yeah, maybe. No, okay. Yeah, that was the point of absurdity that was just even too much to. That's when I began to say there is no limit.
Wasn't ancient Ireland like feudal or something?
The ancient Ireland was like tribal monarchical rule, right? There was tribal families. They had little communities, but they kind of basically had hierarchical structures, rules, and laws and bounds in which you could behave. It was all of those.
But that's not the U.S. federal government, so
yeah. Therefore, it's anarchical. It's that was the point where I was like, there is no limit at this point. If you're telling me that monarchy is anarchy, there is no limit as to what you want to redefine, because that literally has been the epitome of most people's examples of tyrannical rule, and for you to claim no, it's actually
monarchy.
Yeah. Because I don't agree with that. When Americans think that monarchies are just tyrannical, I don't buy that either.
No.
But what I'm saying is that, but then to flip that like completely around and say, no, this is actual anarchy. It's like okay. Yeah, I guess a monkey is a dog.
That's what I said.
And a frog is a fucking hippo at that point.
Like,
yeah.
You're just redefining words.
Yeah.
Or something. And I'm like, or what was it? I don't remember what the argument. There was a beautiful thread. I ran a tweet delete that I do like every 6-7 months.
Yeah.
Just to clean my Twitter feed and I just restart. But I just went back and forth with people like, okay, you're a bass. You're a bass fish, but also a bass, a stringed instrument whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
And you also have a baby. You're a donkey with a baby doll head and seal flippers for legs and arms.
Yeah,
you're just changing definitions. Okay.
Yeah. You literally think a monarchy is anarchy.
Then. You're a horse then.
Yeah.
That's fine. No, it's that. Well, the definitions of words change.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You're a mop.
Yeah.
With a wooden handle in a bucket. But then when I feel like it, you're a beaver.
Yeah.
With a ping pong paddle as a tail sewn on at the back.
Because you build dams.
And based on the needs of my argument, you're one of those things.
Yeah.
Or Ronald Reagan. But a wax figure of him covered in hair like Chewbacca. And on fire sometimes if that suits my...
Yeah.
Because words change. The definitions of words change, whatever. Yeah. Like I can just...
It's one of the most maddening things to discuss, I think, with those two groups the most.
That's not an argument. Definition of words change. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a fish.
Yeah, what if I just start calling anarchy socialism?
Yeah.
What's stopping me at that point? Okay, socialist. I'm like, I'm not social, whatever, socialist.
Wrong.
Wrong. Seemed like a socialist to me, socialist.
Wrong.
It's like,
well, that means right, so.
Yes, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's that's the most infuriating part is when you're discussing with them. I think both Protestants and the consensualists do this, is that they take definitions and they flip them around. They take history and alter it to kind of neatly fit their worldview, as opposed to simply coming up with a theory and then having a proper rigid designator to describe that theory, or at least to designate it to that theory and a definite description to describe it. And then from there, coming up with different modes of how to govern.
Yeah.
That wouldn't bother me fucking at all, because I think all governments are flawed anyways. And so they could come up with it. I mean, would it function? Sure. I mean, fucking communism functions. It doesn't function well, but okay, it functions. The American system functioned. The every system that we have seen that exists in the world functions.
Functioned or functions.
Yes, and so if you want to say that a system based on consent of everybody at all times will function, I want to see a little more evidence, but I'm sure it would. There's probably going to be some difficulties because I mean, what somebody consents at one point, they might not in the second point because they were manipulated or whatever. I mean, there's so many variations. I mean, how many times did a woman open up her legs to a guy to fuck, and then 2 hours later feels regret and says, "I didn't really consent"? I mean, there's complications in which I think they'll have to overcome, but at least let's discuss it with proper terms, so we're not just like making shit up.
And that doesn't happen with atheists.
Yeah, it doesn't actually. Yeah, that actually rarely happens.
New atheists.
It rarely happens with new atheists because they're just functioning with things in which they see and terminologies, and then we sometimes, if there's a dispute in terminology, we kind of agree upon it and be okay. Well, let's just call it this then, and then we're fine.
But they can do that.
They can do that.
Mm-hmm.
The consensualists can't. It's like they want to keep using these words. No, this is anarchical. It's like, well, just
say that I'm correct in saying that anarchy means no ruler, and that's literally all it means.
Yes. But because
and agree, at least cede that you're using the word wrong.
Yes.
Just say that.
Yeah.
And then you can talk about it.
You have a affirmative system of governmental system that is based on consent. That is the system in which they're positing.
Yeah.
And attempting to hijack different words and saying that now monarchy falls into here, now feudalism falls into here, now, whatever falls into these categories.
Everything but the federal government.
Yeah, everything but the American
EU.
And the EU, right. It's like, okay,
Probably
now
the Soviets, maybe.
what do they call synthetic governments or
I don't know.
whatever? It's like the difference between natural government and a synthetic one, or
simulacra. No,
yeah,
something.
Whatever it is. It's like, just shut the
Our
fuck
show
up.
cannot turn into railing against.
It won't. It's just that.
Maybe we have to vow to not talk about it for a few episodes.
Yeah, I understand why the last time when we had to listen to that lecture, and in the end you were like, now I don't want to talk about it anymore. Mm-hmm. I understand your sentiment now, because I think you were engaging with it much longer than I was. Like I was just like, whatever. I rarely engage with it. This is kind of silly, but
That's right. After the Roderick Long thing, I was like, I don't want to ever hear the word anarchy again.
Yes, yeah. I had to suffer through the entire fucking thing, and now I get it because you were engaging with these people. Really, you were talking with Ace, you were talking with all these other people, and so it was probably already festering in your mind of like, this is all bullshit, this is all nonsense, and let's just avoid it. So yeah, I completely agree. This isn't turned into that, but I guess it is what happened this past week. So that's
it's totally topical.
Yeah, and so that's what. That just drives the madness, not just with us, but I think with a lot of people that tries to discuss with them. That's what drives them mad in the end. Mm-hmm. It's like you can never question an idea.
I had this really interesting, the papal statist, but he's one of my 5 favorite people on the whole website. He is one of the, I don't always argue with anarchists or debate with anarchists, but when I do, I tell them to kill themselves. It was so beautiful. He is the funniest person on earth. But was some discussion about self-ownership, and I'm not going to name any names or anything. It's just him and somebody else. They're talking about self-ownership, and I started walking this person through what they mean by the self, and it essentially boiled down to literally anything that exists that I use towards my own ends.
Yeah.
And it was like,
okay. I remember that thread. Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's not the self. That's not. No serious thinker has ever said that.
No, yeah.
That's not. Like a mechanical arm is a tool.
Oh, I know, yeah.
It's a tool. Mm-hmm. It's a tool that fulfills many of the accidental qualities of an arm in that it functions kind of similarly in certain actions and tasks.
Of course, yeah.
But that's not your body.
No. They're ascribing to a philosophical idea called functionalism.
Yeah.
I don't remember when we talked about philosophy of mind. Yeah. Where they say the function of the thing becomes the actual thing. Yeah. That function. It's like, no, it's absurd. I'm sorry. It's stupid.
That's what Thaddeus Russell was saying when he said that if a kid's playing with a stick and says it's a spaceship, it's literally a spaceship.
Yes, yeah. It's like, it's not.
I'm so sad we didn't get him saying that. I don't have a recording of it. That's audible. It's literally a spaceship. It's like, what are you talking about?
That was...
You just say, no, it's not. And if they go, yes, it is, it's like, okay, well, then I can't talk to you about anything.
No, yeah, it's like discussing with the transgender people. It's like they just fucking make
We're
shit
talk
up.
about self-ownership, but self means literally anything I want to use.
I know, yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah, okay.
then I guess you can own yourself if I can own
Yeah.
this bottle for drinking.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's it. You win because you just redefine the word.
Exactly.
You liked the phrase, so you redefine the word
Mm-hmm.
to fit how you wanted to use it,
Yes, yeah.
regardless of how it's ever been discussed in history.
Right, yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm a horse then.
Yeah. And these people...
I'm a horse with goldfish.
The other thing is that these people... Look, whenever I've heard the phrase, like, taxation is theft, I kind of understood that metaphorically. Mm-hmm. Because it's obviously not theft.
We were getting raped in the ass for it, but
yeah, but yes, yeah,
not literally, but
yes,
yeah.
but it isn't literally theft. Yeah. They're actually taking it literally. Mm-hmm. It's like
because it's an effective phrase. So how can we redefine these words to make that true?
Yes, yeah. And so when they talk about going to war, it's just theft, people stealing your money too. It's like that is not theft, because if you live in a society. We
live in a society.
Yes, you are existing.
You don't know that meme. That's going to be for everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, if you live in a society, you're living in a system of rules that you abide by. Mm-hmm. They put monetary value on that. Mm-hmm. You can, like for example, in the U.S., you can be like Ted Kaczynski and never work and never pay taxes.
Grow your own food outside of a house.
Yes. Like you can homestead. Homesteading is a real thing in the U.S. where you're actually not paying taxes because you're not living off of government anything. You want to live in a society, it costs you. It's the same thing like any transaction. You want a computer, it's going to cost you. It's like saying, man, these corporations, they just steal from us. Like I hear leftists say this all the time. It's like, well,
no.
Yeah, I mean, figuratively, can we kind of agree? Yeah, because sometimes they, like for example, glasses. So I had a friend in college, and she worked in it was like
optician.
Yeah, optician.
Yeah,
and the amount that they pay for glasses is like $2, and they sell them for like $200 to $400.
Oh yeah,
like okay,
designer brands.
Yeah.
Which I get. I love that.
Exactly, yeah. But like, can somebody technically constitute that as like theft? I mean,
no, because you're paying for it.
Yes,
and you know that that's the case.
It's like figuratively, we can make that game and be like, they're being dickheads.
Poetic.
Yeah, it's poetic. Basically, when you say taxation is theft or corporations are thieves, you're saying it to kind of rile up emotions.
Of course.
Right. Not that they're literally stealing from you. The eye doctor's not literally stealing from you. Mm-hmm. He's just charging you an absurd amount because he can. Yeah. Right. When my dad had to go to the anesthesiologist for his heart surgery, it was $83,000. Yeah. Did it really cost that much at his end?
No. I mean, that's insurance companies. Without insurance,
it is. Yeah.
It would not cost.
Because when they found out I didn't have insurance, you know how much I paid in the end? $3,000. And they took it. Yeah. All right. And so are they gouging? Yes. Is this a game that you play when people offer you something? Yes. Because you're getting something out of it. You're still consenting
to it by paying for it.
Exactly.
You don't have to do that.
You don't have to live in society.
Yeah.
If you really, really think taxation is theft, there's Ted Kaczynski. He's a great example for you. Yeah. Find a place, build it yourself. There's a bunch of fucking hobos out here that live that way.
They don't pay taxes.
They don't pay taxes. Just find the woods. Just shit in the woods, whatever. Find something to eat. Who gives a shit? Then you're not partaking in it. But you're purposely living in a fucking society. You're going to work. You're driving on the roads. You're going everywhere. You're using the system.
Your gaming PC.
Yes.
You bought at Best Buy.
You are in a society, and they put monetary value on it, and they get to. And that's what's frustrating when you begin to talk to them, because they take things that was meant originally to be figuratively, literally, and then they begin to redefine whatever they want to
make that figurative phrase literal.
Yes, nobody likes taxes. I get it.
It's like when you can't consent when force is exerted on you. Like if if someone mugs me and I give them my wallet that wasn't done out of consent. It's like, actually, you could have died for it.
Exactly,
If
yeah.
you wanted to.
Yes,
you
you could have
decided
died
your
for
life
it.
was more
Yes.
important than that thing, so you consented to giving
Yeah.
the wallet to the mugger or whatever.
Yeah.
That's consent.
It's still, yeah.
Technically, you can make consent whatever you want it to mean.
You can, yeah. And it sucks, and you fear for your life. But yeah, in the end,
it's still consent.
Yeah.
You could have tried to beat him up. You could have tried,
If you didn't, you could go to jail if you don't want to pay taxes.
Yeah.
Like that is an option.
Yeah.
Or like I said, you don't even have to go to jail. You just don't have to work. Like literally, you want to not pay taxes.
Don't work.
There's a bunch of people out there that's going to want you to hang out with you. You know, they sleep on bus stops.
Yeah.
Face down in the grass when they drink too much Listerine. They're out there. They're out there.
Real anarchists.
Yes. Yeah.
They are not ruled. Become ungovernable.
Yes. And I think that
the little mini Listerine bottle.
Yes.
That's anarchy.
The childish naivete that they have.
We should call them anarchists.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, because they actually are.
Yes,
but they're living chaotically without rules and without a ruler. They are
like
actually.
I have this little route that I walk.
Yeah.
By the office building I work at.
Yeah.
And there's always like homeless people around doing weird stuff. I should just take pictures of them and be like, anarchists. Become ungovernable. And it's some guy with his pants down, face down on the pavement on the side of the bike trail.
Somebody else just shit in the street.
He does nothing he doesn't consent to. Yes. And it's a guy like half asleep in a tent with his dick out. Anarchy.
But yeah, I think like in a group chat, I was making this point there, and I think it should be even a broader point that everybody should hear, is that it isn't that I think that people who ascribe to the ideology are stupid, because I understand what is attractive about it, right? Especially when you're young. If you're a young guy, and we talked about it, I think with the other podcast we were on, Politically Catholic or whatever.
No. Popular Liberty.
Popular Liberty.
His name is Politically Catholic.
Yeah. Is that it does fester more within young people.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think there's a reason for that, because when, I remember when I was young and I was questioning my faith and trying to understand it, I read nearly every book from Nietzsche. I loved Nietzsche. It's like, I get the attraction of these kinds of ideas that allow like the individual to rise above any kind of authority that you've had all your life. You had your parents, you had your teachers, you go to college, you still have bombarded with it, you have bosses. Yeah, there's going to be a point and a part of you where like, I'm tired of being told what to do.
Yeah.
And so then you begin to ascribe to these ideas. I get that. I think many men who have any kind of intelligence have fallen into one of those forms of narcissistic ideas, right? That exist, whether it's Nietzschean or Ayn Rand, or whether it's like the anarchists or whatever.
I liked Rand, but novels. I never read her philosophy.
Right? Yeah,
it's very gay.
But it's still like that young man, masculine feeling.
Atlas Shrugged.
Yeah, fuck yeah. She's a rebel without a cause. Yes,
I'm Howard Rourke.
Yeah,
I don't care about anybody.
And we all get I think we all get that. And so it isn't that I'm unsympathetic about it, but it's
you
also
you refuse to let them be dishonest.
Yes.
Yeah.
The difference is that normally they engage with me, I just do a post because I think, our listeners would like the post that I do.
Yeah.
And I do that. We could kind of like whatever, laugh about it.
Yeah.
But then they're the ones that are engaging me.
Yeah.
They could ignore it.
Like, you're a stupid idiot, moron. You can't read.
I don't really comment on their things.
Yeah.
But
then you'll engage.
Yes, but okay, fine. You want to engage, and let's engage. And then when they engage dishonestly and they don't want to actually think about things, it's like, now you're being stupid.
Yeah.
Before, you're just being naive. Every young man is naive.
Yeah.
When I began to read Phaser and everything, I realized, okay, I am naive.
You're like, I know nothing.
Yeah, I know nothing. Exactly.
Yeah.
All this shit that I was reading before that I found alluring and I fell into was because of narcissism. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. You want to be a man. You want to feel in charge. You want to feel like you're your own authority, that you're making, everything. Yes. It was just pure fucking narcissism. And so when you point out certain philosophical flaws within them, they should be just fucking grow up.
Yeah.
You should be adult enough to be like, okay, well, yeah, that is a bit naive, but they're not. They don't go there. You know, the Nietzscheans, the Rothbardians, the Ayn Randians, all these ideas are very, very immature ideas.
Yeah.
And that's why
and they just prove it.
They do. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
And I just think that when you discuss with somebody, just be at least intellectually honest enough to be like, well,
don't be mean. Don't be rude.
Yeah. There's no reason for that.
Don't tell people they're illiterate.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, you guys are dumb. I get it now. Now it's in a realm of stupidity because it's a deliberate ignorance where you don't actually want to discuss and come up with ideas. These ideas are alluring for a reason.
Yeah.
And if the only reason why you are that way is because you want to get away from your loser life, and as I discussed last time, then it's really their escape. Is that they're in a dead end job, they have no future, they have no pussy, they have nothing, and so it's like that's the only escape that they have is holding on to an ideology that makes them feel liberated from their loserness. And that's why last time I was like, then just fucking do something at this point. Because all you're doing is festering. When you read these people, they're just festering these ideas. You really want to feel less of a loser? Stop being a loser.
Yeah.
Do something, right? Get pussy. Go into a fist fight. Do something. You know, start a business. Try to get a raise. Try to take control and ownership of the environment that you have. Because that's all that they're looking for. When they were talking about self-ownership and consent, they're just tired of being losers. They're tired of being told what to do. I get it. The only way out of that is not ascribing to ridiculous ideologies.
It's just stopping a loser.
Yeah, it's just stop being a loser. Do something. And then you'll find yourself much more happy.
Episode title.
I think that will end my discussion with a consensualist.
No, yes, yeah. You've had a wild couple weeks.
Yeah.
And eventually your new profile picture is so ridiculous. It makes it harder to take you seriously than the first one.
Yeah, I know. So that was my old picture that I always used when I told you I used to argue with people on YouTube.
Yeah.
That was your picture.
Is it just some baby you found online? The fat baby.
Yeah, it's a fat Asian baby. I don't know how I found it. I remember coming to perfect.
No, they have to be like to argue with that. It's perfect. That's your new call sign.
It is, yeah.
You have to make sure you save it so that when you get banned again, you can use it again.
Oh yes, yeah.
Eventually, you gotta lay low for a little bit.
I know. I think I have to create a new account now.
Yeah.
And so just leave it in the back burner so when this one gets in.
That's how it works. You got to make a bunch of them from different IP addresses.
Because I think if you do it after the fact, it's easier to get caught.
Yeah.
But if you see something around since 2011, they're not going to think that it's fucking me. I think it's so old.
It's like 11-year-old Twitter account. Yes. The fat baby.
It's still there.
It's so stupid.
Oh, that's great.
I'm feeling good.
Yes. What are you drinking?
It's a bourbon.
Bourbon.
Yeah, I'm switched to whiskey because the intoxication to calories ratio is lower.
Yeah.
And aside from this, I haven't had bread in like 5 days. I've been eating very well.
That's good.
Yeah, I've been dropping weight again. Just have to keep doing it. I'll drop like 5 pounds. I'm like, oh, that's it. Just pat myself on the back and go back to exactly what I was doing before. It's like, no.
Yeah. I think that's the hardest part.
Just maintaining it.
Yeah, it's maintaining the new, because it's like a new lifestyle. It isn't so much like a diet is temporary. At least when people say the word diet.
Yeah.
But like when it's a new lifestyle, it's like you forever can never touch this. It's much more hard mentally.
Yeah. Or if you do touch it, you can't. That doesn't mean that's the new normal again.
It does, yeah.
The old normal.
Right, yeah, of course. Like if you fall off the wagon, you should get back on.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just becomes the norm.
Yeah.
But your other option just to work out or shit ton.
I ran yesterday. I've been ran past couple days.
I'm talking about workout.
No, I know. I'm trying to drop some fat before I.
It helps though. That's what I'm saying.
I know, because the way my ankle flexion, so that the bending is so low, I can't actually go into a proper squat. My ankles are that inflexible.
Oh, really?
So I fall backwards because my knees won't go forward enough.
Yeah.
So if I have to squat, I have to hold the weight way out and like go back. And I don't know if that's just my foot shape or something.
Yeah, it could be.
Not that matters as much,
The
but
preemie foot.
yeah. I think it's just my mom's whole family has these horribly shaped feet.
Oh, so that wasn't due to your preeminess?
No.
Oh, I really thought it was like your ear and the foot.
No. My mom has the same exact shaped feet.
Oh, really?
Turns out we're just a family of preemies and no one ever put two and two together.
Oh, your mom is so lovely.
Everybody loves my mom.
Yeah. It's hard to hate her.
Well, no one should hate her, but
Yeah.
like she just like I got like at least 10 people message me. They're like, hug your mom for me.
Oh, really?
Like, everybody loves my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a hard conversation, but she did
She
it.
began to cry in the end. Again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, that was
Yeah. But that was definitely your best like monologue that you done.
that's the most important thing I've ever said. I can quit now.
Yeah.
Because that's something I think, because I hadn't had that thought before, that
Right.
that she's sitting there and she keeps saying, I don't know, and then
Yeah.
I'm like, well, you want to?
Yeah.
We're sitting here telling you.
Yeah.
You're not listening. You're not even thinking about
But
listening.
the best part was when she said that you did, and then you're like, I did.
What do you
I was
mean?
like, because she said, are you? And then that's the part where
What
you
are you talking about?
So you were just telling her that she's not listening, and
Yeah.
then she said to you, "Are you?" And then that's the part where you got passionate, and you were like, "I did,
I did listen. That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was perfect.
I watched. You got a little like.
Yeah,
I don't know what you weren't emotional. You mean you were emotional? You weren't like weeping, but I was watching.
I thought it was good.
You
yeah.
were watching. I was watching your face. I was like, okay, I'm saying the right thing.
Yeah,
It's those weird moments where it almost feels like you're possessed.
yes, yeah,
And you're just a
I agree.
mouthpiece for whatever thing you're supposed
whatever
to be
is
saying.
true. Yeah,
Yeah. And that was one of those moments where I'm like, I don't have control over what I'm saying.
Yes,
right now. I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
saying it.
it's a beautiful moment when that happens
Yeah.
because then you really do feel like you're partaking in what is true.
Yeah.
It's no longer like a conditioned idea that you're espousing. It's just like this is just what is true, and it's just flowing out of your mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was just like, I'm just gonna be quiet.
I know you didn't say anything
Yeah,
for like 20 minutes.
yeah, I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
just let this flow.
Yeah. You texted me the next day.
But yeah, that was a good episode. I thought
Yeah.
one of our longest, right?
It was the longest by 15 minutes.
Yeah,
It's 4 hours and 21 minutes on YouTube or something.
that's insane.
Yeah.
Dude.
It didn't feel like that at all.
Mm-mm.
At all. Same with the Bill episode with Bill was like 3 hours, 45
Was that?
minutes, 4
Yeah.
hours or something.
Mm.
Yeah, almost 4 hours. Almost just over 4.
Yeah. So I'm curious what your mom thought that she should say.
I didn't hear anything new.
Or you didn't?
Yeah. It's like she'd be like, "Oh, I should have said this," or like it's like you're making the same argument again.
Yeah.
Like you're saying what you said 10 times. I have it on recording. I can play this again for you.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not. I think there's this, and it happens with a lot of the Protestant types.
Mm-hmm.
Or Protestant, or any of the, when you say consensualist, or like any of these,
Yeah,
they get really irritated and aggravated, and then you eventually just have to browbeat them, and then they quote unquote lose the argument. I don't think she lost any argument. That wasn't a winning thing at all.
It wasn't competitive, but she did concede kind of in the end.
She did, but that wasn't I don't think of that as a win.
Yes, yeah.
The win is conversion, but
Yes, yeah.
but they'll like, it's like they erase how they felt in the moment.
Yeah.
You saw her face.
I know.
Like she was getting it
Yes.
in a way that I felt I got it.
Yeah.
Not like I didn't need that much convincing at all, but just like there's there's wheels turning that I don't see turning. And then you get 3 days away from it, and it's back to...
Yeah.
It's like, do I have to do this to you like 24/7? Why did you forget everything that we said?
Yeah.
You weren't listening to what we were saying.
Yeah, that was...
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to understand the motive behind it. I don't know what is it for her. I think for some people it's just...
Because it's not...
I think it's too difficult to give up. I really do think submission is a very hard thing.
Of course it is. That's why it's... Mm-hmm. That's why it's the most important thing you can do.
It is, yeah. And rather than submit, it's easier than to try to rationalize. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what normally happens in the end. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I find that to be extra potent with, like, the American and British culture.
Yeah,
I don't know why it's more potent with them, but it definitely is. I found most of the Latin world much more easy to consent to when what they will believe in is wrong, mm-hmm. but also with the Latin world, they're much more easy to not care.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Like, I'm wrong, but I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
I'm still gonna keep doing this, and you get more of that attitude.
I'd rather just hear that.
I know, yeah. With the Anglo world, it's like they can't. They have to be right, and they can never admit that they're acting.
Well, metaphysically
contrary.
speaking, if they're God, they better be.
Yes, yeah,
yeah.
And I think in a way that's probably what it is.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah. Because
if they determine their reality, they're God.
Yes.
And if they're God, they damn well better be right.
Yeah.
It's a pretty incredible responsibility.
I think that is the most accurate reason why.
Yeah. I don't know. Because there was that moment where the most beautiful thing I've ever heard her say in the most honest thing she's ever said in her life was she said, like, she kept saying she doesn't know, and then she reworded it, and she said something like, maybe it's just too much for my faith to handle.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
I know, yeah.
That's all. You listen to the words
that was
you're
beautiful.
saying.
Yeah.
That was as, you know, like the thing that Jordan Peterson now is just, he's monetized himself into uselessness, really.
I haven't really watched him.
It's just.
Is it bad?
Once, I don't know what it is about him, but really I don't think he was correct about a lot of things, but I think he was one of the most genuinely intelligent and intellectually honest people of the last 20 years in, like, popular philosophy and psychology and stuff. I really think he was the guy. He was the most honest and selflessly inquisitive in a way. I think he had stuff that he didn't want to admit. You know, there's certain, everybody kind of has those,
right?
But when he people ask him, like, do you believe in God? And they walk him back and back and back and back. He just has that moment where he, like, shuts down and gets emotional, and he's like, I'm not ready to commit to that yet.
Yeah,
that's like.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Because you know that he knows what's on the other side of that.
Yes.
If he says, that's too much responsibility for me right now, he knows he's just not doing it.
Yes, yeah.
You're not making him say, yes, but I don't want to live like that. You know, he's always like, oh, you should live as if you believe in God.
Right, yeah.
It's like, well, you don't. He's like, I live as if I believe in God. I'm like,
yeah,
you don't, because then you would. But that was a moment. That was that moment for her.
It was, yeah.
When she says, "It's too much for my faith to handle." I'm like, what does that say about your faith?
Right. Yeah.
No, it's not even a joke, but, like,
I know.
It was just that should be on a bumper sticker or something. It was just so beautifully said.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. It's
unfortunate.
I know. Takes time.
It does. Yeah. It definitely does.
Oh, well. She'll figure it out.
Does she still want to talk to you about it, or is she kind of over it now?
Well, she still talks to me about it, but she just says the same things over and over again.
All right.
She's just a confession to a priest. I'm like, we explained that. don't have to pray to Mary. I'm like, did you listen to what was said about that?
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't have to pray to Mary. It's like, we spent hours
Yes.
telling you why that's the wrong way to phrase it. You're praying to Mary so that she prays for you. You're not worshiping Mary as God.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I shouldn't have to pray to Mary. It's like, what the... It's just, it just doesn't click.
Yeah. But it's deliberate to a certain point.
It has to be.
Yeah. Yeah, because
Even as like a self-defense mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah, because I even feel that way about like... I guess the way Jordan Peterson in the end phrased that, it seems in the end deliberate, like you just don't want it to be true.
Yeah, it's you're not willing to say it because then it becomes real to you.
Yeah. And I think the disservice that many other Christians do, and this includes many Catholics, is that they make it seem as if one has to be perfect before they enter the church, rather than the church being there for the sinners so that they can be perfected in its grace.
Mm-hmm.
And so when someone like Jordan Peterson, it's like what he is basically saying is that he is not good enough to accept that as a reality.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem with that is that literally is the reverse. It's like, of course you're not. None of us are.
Yeah.
And you never will be.
That's why we need to get Jordan Peterson on the show.
Yes, yeah.
So you're like, hey, we'll fly you up.
Like that's the point of the church. That's the point of Mass.
Yeah.
That's the point of all the sacraments. It is to lead you towards holiness. You can never become holy on your own.
Yeah.
You require those things, and if those things were not necessary, and then there would be no need for the church, right? There's no more need for the church when you're in paradise, because the church is there to help perfect you, and so there's a weird, I guess there's a weird prior commitment that people pose onto themselves that ought not to be there. And maybe many Christians, I should specifically say Catholics, maybe as Catholics, we have to make that more abundantly aware.
Mm-hmm.
Because I do think there's many traditionalists that are sometimes a bit too much in the end.
The trad Caths?
Yes. That in the end, they make it seem as if you're, in order to be Catholic, you have to be this perfected specimen in order to be in the church. And
well, so I almost want to call quote unquote trad Catholics like Catholic Puritans.
It's
very,
in many ways,
very Puritan.
Yes, many of them are. I wouldn't say all of them are, but
well,
yes.
Of course, because traditional just means something very... When I say trad Cath,
but there's
a
specific subgroup. Yeah, there's a specific subgroup. I
almost like a Matt Walsh kind of...
Right, yes, yeah.
It's very puritanical.
It is, yeah. And I think that gives the wrong message to many people that look at the church from the outside.
Yeah.
So when they look at the church from the outside, that is what they think. They think that it is a commanding, like, hell judger in a way.
Yeah.
It is like it is there to judge you how bad you're living your life, as opposed to attempting to welcome them into church so that they could get the sanctifying graces to be able to overcome whatever vice is ailing them.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be a healing journey. It's supposed to be something that you don't get from day one. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's a disservice that I think many people that talk to non-Catholics that they do to the church. It's like, yes, the church has many rules. It has many of these, she says, why do I need to pray to Mary? It's like, if you're not ready to do it right now,
you don't have to do
You don't have to do that right now. Honestly, you just don't.
Yeah. They asked me that. That was interesting as we're like kind of toasted on margaritas, and they're like asking me these questions, and they're like, why do we have to pray Mary? And I'm like,
yes,
you don't.
Yes,
you can.
It's helpful.
It's an option.
And if we're like, I remember I knew this one convert, and she still had a problem with the whole Mary thing.
A lot of them do.
Yes,
that's the thing they hang on to a lot.
It is, yeah. And in the end, it's like, fine, then go to fucking Mass, get the graces, and pray about it in order to become.
That was
better.
actually one of the I won't be able to say
Okay.
what not out of secrecy, but literally I don't remember.
Yeah.
I had like a stint listening to Matt Fradd's show.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Pints of Aquinas?
Yeah, yeah.
I find it.
Some episodes are really good.
Some of them are very good.
Mhm.
Some of them are extremely boring.
Milk toast. Yeah.
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 Overly pastoral.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of the time people will use like a lot of like, oh, Christ will dwell within you. And I'm like, are you Protestant? Why are you talking like that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
There's like phraseology if they're too charismatic.
I know.
Like
yeah.
pastoral. I'm like, what are you, this isn't
I know.
boring.
It's like you're not a priest, buddy. You know,
like, what are you doing?
you're a masturbating married man.
Oh no. I don't mean him. I mean his guests and stuff. But
did you watch those that series that he did about masturbation? Because like he was heavily addicted to porn and stuff. So
I've heard about that.
Yeah, so he was very open about it. But
Yeah.
it's just like now every time I see him, I just imagine him whacking off. There's something about his face that I'm just
Oh
like,
my God.
I was like, yeah, I could see it. You know? But anyways,
It really is something you should never admit publicly.
Yeah, I know. It's
Like Joe Rogan's like, I jack up all the time. Like, don't say that.
yeah.
You're like a ripped dude. Like, why are you
I
saying that
know.
to anybody? Don't.
I know. It's like I don't.
No, stop.
Yeah.
Now you're like a weird
Yeah,
guy.
Yes. Yeah.
You shouldn't ever admit that you jack
Yeah.
off. In
I think
public.
that was the worst thing Matt Fred
Ooh,
ever did.
apparently there's a Telegram, the application.
Mm-mm.
I don't know what it is. It's some. I won't even want to say anything about it because I
Like a
don't know.
social networking thing.
It's a social networking thing, but I think it's like super unregulated.
Mm.
I think I know a lot of the, if people get banned off of Twitter enough times,
They
they
go
go
to
to Telegram.
Telegram?
There's apparently a group chat that listens to the show,
Oh, okay.
and I was asked via a by a friend who is amongst these Telegram chatters, that they wanted to know specifically from you:
Mhm.
can women masturbate? Is that
Can women masturbate?
is that technically? So in the same way that we would both
Yeah.
agree that women are incapable of rape because it's not.
right? They can't rape each other.
Well, they just can't rape. You can't. It's
Yeah.
it's you have to be the one performing
Oh,
penile,
right, yes.
like forced penile insertion
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
into the vagina
yeah.
to rape. Like that's what
Exactly.
you
right,
have
yeah.
to be, the penis
Yeah.
raping the vagina. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
I mean,
Can they? Is that?
there definitely is a distinction between men and women masturbate. I think that's one thing that's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, when a guy masturbates, he's like,
Yeah, yeah.
there's something strange about that, and there's something more gross about it. Like maybe there is. I don't watch porn, so I really don't know. But from my understanding, there are a lot of porns with girls masturbating.
porns.
But there isn't really porns of dudes masturbating, is there?
Oh, there's tons.
Oh, is there?
Oh yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong there.
I mean,
then.
I'm not a connoisseur, but I definitely.
Really?
You exist on Twitter at all, and things come up on your
Why,
timeline.
I don't understand why anybody would want to watch that. Okay, it's.
But anyway, so women can.
I mean.
Do we know
But I guess I don't know what the difference is, because I do have an intuition. I haven't thought about it, so
Do
I
we
can't
just
really
have to
say.
talk about masturbation right now?
Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't have. I do have an intuition that there is a distinction.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the distinction is, because nothing in either case, I guess for the woman, she's penetrating herself with her fingers.
She doesn't have to be,
She doesn't have
from
to
what
be.
I understand.
She could just like be rubbing it.
Yeah.
Basically rubbing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. Is that from the female friends I've had that have been overly comfortable with me, it's pleasure does not necessarily come from insertion.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not literally just that. So I don't.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's true about sex in general for
Yeah.
the women. That's a good question.
Well, I think
Right now, my intuition says that they can, but I don't.
Different.
I don't know how to, I guess, existentially distinguish between the two necessarily. Like, what is it that I think is something more gross about the male?
Well, do you think
masturbating?
that? Do you think that? I'm trying to think. In sex for women, completion of the act of sex does not occur necessarily when they orgasm. Necessarily, they can become pregnant without climax.
Oh yes, the
Pleasure-wise, yes, that's what you'd want. But the act does not necessitate.
Yeah, it necessitates the male ejaculation.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is in masturbating. I guess you could edge all the time. That's even weirder. Like, it's weird. I don't even know how to talk.
No, yeah, Josh
Like
told me about that.
the edging thing.
Yeah, I honestly did not know about that.
No, what was that? That was one of the Slurp Gang bits. Was the edging was just stimming.
What's stimming?
Stimming is the thing that autistic people do to like, when they're like doing their hands and stuff. They're stimulating. That was my impression at. You don't know what it is.
Yeah.
We're eventually going to get banned off of YouTube and have to find another platform.
Yeah, probably. Rumble, I heard, is pretty good.
Rumble?
Yeah.
Odyssey is one that people... We'll figure it out.
Okay.
I'm just saying I've said rape like 8-10 times now.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird because I guess both when a chick and a dude masturbate, it is useless.
Yes, but I don't think that women... I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about...
Yeah.
I just know what's told to me by women about their own anatomy. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
So what's the reason why you would give do you think that they technically masturbate?
Does masturbate just means pleasure?
I guess what I think I could articulate the difference. I think what the difference is that when a man does it, there is waste.
Yeah. With women, they could just be
there's
like,
no waste. Yeah.
It's not like their eggs fly out.
Right. Yes.
Or something.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
They expel all of their eggs.
There is nothing being wasted in that activity.
But it's still sinful, is it?
Yeah. I would say it.
But less sinful because there's no weight. There's no
like ontological waste there. Like, is it actual sodomy when a woman does it?
Well, there's no. Yeah. It's not. Yeah. It literally isn't like.
It's like play.
It's maybe it's weird and disordered. Maybe it's.
Yeah. So I guess it would be like how if a guy would do that but never come.
Like edging perpetually.
Yes. Like would you say that that's masturbation?
Well, yeah. It's just,
yeah. So I guess
it's
yes.
just weird.
It is. But I think what makes it less gross is that there is no waste.
Yeah. There's no wasted
semen. Yeah.
Potential for
right.
life, yeah.
Because you're right. The woman can have sex and never orgasm.
I wonder how many of our listeners are just like covering their ears. Like, we haven't had a conversation like this for a long time.
Yes, yeah.
It used to be quite regular in the early catalog.
Yeah.
But what is the act
I
of dick and ass?
Yeah. But I also do think to have sex properly, it is the duty of the man to give her an orgasm.
Yeah.
I think that if he doesn't, he is failing in his duty.
Yeah. Well, it's not the ultimate experience of God the woman could be having.
Yes,
in pleasure. Yeah. But it's not necessary for the procreation that occurs.
It's not necessary for it to be proper, but I do think it is necessary for it to be really good.
I think anybody would agree with that.
Yes,
okay,
yeah. Like, you really experienced the goodness of the sex. Yeah. You made her orgasm.
Yeah.
And
what you're saying is it's not necessary to complete the act.
Yes.
But
it's kind of like
you
eating.
Shouldn't not try.
Yes. Yeah. It's kind of like eating. Can you eat flavorless food? Yes. I mean, it's not sinful to eat flavorless food, but you're also privating yourself.
Have you ever heard that thing where
goodness.
it's I don't even know how to like word the argument.
Yeah.
But, that it's wrong to make a woman orgasm.
No, I never heard that.
I'd have to figure that out. I have to find that.
I've had
somebody text me. Somebody's gonna know.
Yeah, I have heard from very conservative Christians that they believe food should only be constituted as fuel, so over flavoring it they believe is sinful. I have heard that from highly conservative ones, and so it's probably within that same logic, within the same framework that they think. So they're since they're influenced a lot by the Albigensian idea, I think pleasure in that way becomes an evil.
Yeah.
And so you should deprive yourself from the pleasures.
Oh, it's so depressing.
And sex, yeah. It's horrible because I think some Mohammedans are the same way when they cut off the clit from the female.
Yeah.
is it's to try to reduce the
pleasure she feels, but
Yeah.
not the man. Do they circumcise?
I don't know if the Mohammedans.
What do you think about the whole circumcision debate thing? No, we're talking about genitalia.
Yeah,
People are like really, really anti-circumcision. And
I'm
stuff.
not anti or pro either way.
You think it's dumb to care too much?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because there's this whole thing like my dick would be more sensitive if you didn't cut my foreskin off.
They're right.
It's like but
Yeah.
like why do you care that much? Like what?
Yeah.
I don't care if my dick would tingle more if they didn't take my foreskin
Right.
off.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
feels
Yeah.
great. Like what? That doesn't matter to me if I know her that. Or
Right.
not.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
I think it's-
uncircumcised dicks are kind of weird looking. Maybe sometimes like
Yeah.
you
I
know
think
there's
so.
that Seinfeld bit where someone at the gym one of the four saw an uncircumcised penis at the gym, and Elaine's like, it's got no personality. It's got no face.
Yeah, that's how it's like. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird.
But then like, in other places, it's like normal. It's
Right,
weird
yeah.
to see a circumcised.
Right. Yeah.
Like in the UK, it's weird to see somebody who's circumcised.
Yeah, I think Italy too.
Yeah.
It's like they're
But like, I don't think about that.
me
I
either.
don't care about that
Yeah.
at all.
So whatever.
And it's technically not mutilation because it does nothing to the function of the
right. Yeah.
penis.
Yeah. Well, I think cutting off the clit is.
Oh, of course it
mutilation.
is.
Yeah,
It is.
There's a difference there, like
Yeah.
hugely.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't care about circumcision at all.
No.
But it's a huge issue for a lot of people.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's like some kind of attack on personal autonomy to circumcise a baby. They can't consent to that or something. Seriously, it's like I never want to hear the word consent again.
I know.
It's
Fucking Ace brings it up everything he writes. I'm so okay, and you don't want to use the word consensualist? Okay, just keep using the fucking word then.
yeah, it's just I just don't want to hear those words. We should just come up with a list of unutterable words.
It's like if somebody kept talking about how they masturbate, and be like, well, I'm not a masturbator.
Well,
it's like, okay.
It is the most consensual form of experience of sexual pleasure, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It's just that that's like I think the thing I don't understand about masturbation and why I don't really partake in that is because that is the least exciting part of sex. Yeah. Like I think everything else about the activity of sex is so much more like if like the ejaculation, just like the finality is the climax of it. But if you were to reach that without any of the other parts, it would be gross.
You'd be a priest.
Yes. I mean, like for me, then I would feel gross.
Yeah.
That there's nothing. What was fun about that? You know, you negated the other person. You negated the breast. You negated the ass. You negated the face. You negated everything, and you're just like coming.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you not feel dirty and want to take a shower afterwards?
Most people do.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. Because it's like that's
no one feels great about it.
Because
no one convinces themselves to feel good about themselves after that. They walk around with like a chest puffed out.
Just fucked my hand.
Just made myself come.
Yeah. Yeah, I find
no one's. I mean, have you ever noticed that most like masturbation advocates are women?
Are they?
Yeah, most male, like most who are like it's totally natural to masturbate and stuff. It's mostly women.
Yeah. Because they're not really masturbating.
Because they're not really. So maybe that's our argument.
Yeah.
They're not really. I don't know.
No, but
they love to see men emasculated or something, or I don't know.
Yeah,
they don't really.
I don't know what a woman does when she like masturbates. It's weird.
Like.
Yeah. It's just kind of like it.
I don't know what to do.
Like it's.
I don't know.
It's even weirder almost. Because.
So you're saying it may be more disordered psychologically for women to masturbate than men?
I think it's weirder.
We have to make.
I do agree that I think it is weirder for a girl to masturbate, and especially when they kind of just begin to say it out loud. Yeah. It's like, oh, you know, I don't want to hear it.
There's something weirder.
It is, yeah.
There isn't anything.
I think because like with a guy, because men are kind of a little more.
We have to come up with some super ultra inflammatory conclusion.
I know. I don't know what it is.
We're just talking about
question got
masturbation for like 20 minutes or something.
The question caught me off guard, and it's a good question though, because
So here, when a man masturbates, like normally, and isn't just edging constantly, because that's not what most people mean when they say masturbation.
Yeah.
It's that you pleasure yourself to climax and ejaculation. You, the man, is completing his half of the act of sex.
Yes.
That's not like anything else biologically extra occurs for the man. In sex.
Yeah.
As far as completing the act of sex. There's like obviously. Like,
I know.
There's experiences that are privated and stuff, but when a woman masturbates, she's not getting like fake pregnant.
She's not, exactly.
So it's weird.
That's what's weird about it.
So maybe women can't. Ooh, okay. So why? Okay, I really want to say women can't masturbate.
I know.
I feel like you have that.
I do too. Yes,
I think it's because women in masturbating cannot complete their role in the act of sex that would be completed otherwise on their own. Men can.
Yes.
If masturbation just means pleasuring the self, then that's that.
Yeah. But if masturbation...
Women can't make themselves be pregnant.
They can't.
Men can just like jizz on the floor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, masturbation was for the longest time until like 100 years ago only considered part of the category of sodomy. Yeah. Is that you're sodomizing yourself basically.
And the reason that it's sodomy is because it's...
Yes. And it was always attributed...
It's disordered ejaculation.
Yes. Yeah. It was always attributed to men masturbating. It was never really attributed to
And rape was sodomy.
Yep.
And the reason that women can't rape is because they cannot... It's like they would have to force the reverse.
Right. It's all reverse. Because they're receiving. They're never giving.
Yeah. You can't like rape a man. It's...
Yeah.
Because that's something I very strongly think is a woman can't
and
rape.
The man has to be stimulated in order to get hard.
You know what's really funny?
Yeah.
Is Derek, the guy that produced our theme song.
Yeah.
He just texted me. Not he. Let me read this.
Okay.
So Anton, friend of the podcast, great friend of the podcast.
Yeah.
He texted me. I think he's watching. He goes, "What a lit question, Tones." Oh, no problem, bro. Okay, yes, it was Anton who asked the question. Who transmitted the question of whether women can masturbate or not.
It really is a good question.
It is a fantastic question, but I think it's similar to the reason that women can't rape.
Yeah.
In nature is that women. Does sodomy require? Man, I don't know. It's like, does it require ejaculation to sodomize? Does it?
It is simulating the act of sex improperly, like every form of it, whether you
simulating or completing in the
but in terms, for example, with the way the church has always taught it, it did require the completion.
It requires climax.
Yeah, it does, and so like within the church, there's nothing wrong about like your wife giving you a blowjob.
As long as you...
Yes, as long as you still fuck her.
Yeah.
But there is a fine line if you ejaculate and then you end.
Yeah.
And so if you are an amazing man as I am who can ejaculate multiple times...
I don't even know what my limit is.
And then the act can continue. Yeah. But for most men, once they come, they're done. And so with that, it would be technically like you are supposed to go to confession for it. Many people don't, but technically it's like, you just got sodomized. You should.
You sodomized your wife.
Yes, or she sodomized you or whatever.
Yeah. But I don't think women can sodomize.
But women can. Yeah, you're right that...
Because there's a potency that in men that isn't in women.
Well, because sodomization doesn't mean rape. It doesn't mean that you
no, because rape isn't sodom. Well,
Yeah.
It's not sodomy because
It
it's
is
sex.
it's
sex.
It is sex.
Forced sex outside of marriage.
Yes, which is different.
Yeah.
But yeah, once it is an act in which you are partaking, I do think the woman she could like give you a hand job. She could do whatever.
That's not rape. It's not.
But that is sodomy. Titty fucking, pearl necklace.
But I don't think it's the woman sodomizing you.
What would it be then?
I don't know, but the sodomizing is an active.
It is, but I think she is partaking in it actively.
Okay, but she can't rape you with her vagina.
But raping is different, yes.
Okay, because women can't rape. Maybe she can. She can.
Yeah, I think she could partake in the simulation of sex.
Yeah.
But yeah. In terms of rape, like the guy has to be hard.
Yeah, that was actually Derek had a beautiful example of it. Has to be the man has to be unconscious. You have to use dick pills.
Yes, it has to and be strapped down.
Yeah.
So I get.
It's even not rape. It's still not rape.
Why wouldn't it be rape at that point? I think it would. I think it has to go to extraneous.
Oh, it has to be really, really stupid.
It does, yeah.
Because then she's still completing the act of sex against the will of the man.
Yes, yeah.
But in most,
I think it's much harder for a woman to rape a dude.
Yeah.
Like it takes elaborate.
That's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Equipment.
Yeah.
Pills.
It does,
this whole
yeah.
thing. So he's actually right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll actually give him credit.
Yeah. But yeah, in that way.
But women can't masturbate.
But I think of the masturbation, I think it's so different that maybe there should be a different term for what men do and what women do.
Okay.
Because I do think you're right that what
they can't
the
complete.
difference. Yeah, the main difference is that the man is completing at least his part of the act, but improperly with outside.
If for some reason, anytime a woman masturbated, and she convinced her body that she was pregnant or something and went through it, but it wasn't real. You know?
Yeah.
She went through a false pregnancy every time she pleasured herself. Maybe that would be different.
Yeah.
But even then.
Yeah, but she never
because her body would still be doing everything that would be needed.
Right.
If the egg was fertilized.
And like the women do say is that they don't even need to penetrate. So they don't even need to simulate the act of sex.
To feel pleasure.
To masturbate.
Yeah.
And so
it's not the same. Yeah. So there is an ontological distinction, whether or not we call them both masturbating.
Yeah. I think ordinary language the same way that we don't call hot dog sandwiches. It's like, we're going to call them masturbating. But I do think that there is, technically, if we're going to speak intellectually.
You could say self-pleasure.
Yes. I think probably self-pleasure is a better term for what they're doing. Mm-hmm. While masturbation, because it is masturbatory. It is a completion of an act that is useless.
Yeah.
That the woman never actually does.
Complete it, So she can have an orgasm, but that's not an essential quality of
it is, yes,
conception.
Yes, there's not an essential quality to make an act. That's the sex, the act of sex.
Yeah.
But what he is doing is so. Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with that answer.
Okay.
So women aren't actually masturbating; they're just self-pleasuring. Yeah. While the man is masturbating,
which is also self-pleasure.
Which entails self-pleasure.
But and that could just be it. We've recognized a distinction using maybe language that isn't accurate to how people use it. I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
If masturbation does just mean self-pleasure. But how we're defining it.
Yes.
Is it required?
Because there is. Let me actually look up what that the etymology.
Well, women can squirt.
Yeah.
Which is horrifying to me, first of all. But also not necessary for
etymology.
Etymology.
Yes.
You're looking at is it? I'm very curious.
There it is. Etym online.
Do it. Tell me. What do we got?
Hold on. It always gives the most recent ones, and I like to look to the more traditional. So from Latin masturbatio. Long-standing speculation is that the Latin word is altered, probably by influence of turbere. Okay.
So we don't know.
To disturb.
To disturb.
Yeah, manu. Hand. So hand. Some from the Latin word manu, which is hand, and stupere, defile, to defile oneself.
Let me look this up. Where were you finding that?
So it gives you like the 1711 at first from French, which means self-erotic stimulation.
Which is self-pleasure.
Yeah. But when you look at the further etymology is for the defilement of oneself with a hand.
Okay.
Stunned, stupefied, hence the early word.
Stupid. That's so good. Yeah.
Presented in unattested masdo penis.
Yeah. Manus disturbare.
Yeah.
Manus disturbare. Yeah, so disturbing with the hand. So that is self-pleasure.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
So maybe we need to come up with something else.
Yeah, so I guess from its etymology, both men and women can masturbate.
But
what a man is doing is different, and maybe we have to come up with a different word for what the men do to be more technical.
Joshua Ham says, "Don't forget nuggies, aka chicken sliders."
Chicken sliders.
Stupid.
Hot dog wraps for the cornbread. Deep fried wraps.
Do you agree with me on that? I know that it's technically So if you can.
So let's take this one serious. Actually,
okay. I'm curious.
Yes, yeah.
Because is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yeah.
Yes, because if I can go to Subway and get a sandwich, which is one piece of bread cut down the middle, with the flap, maintained, and have meat put in there, and call that a sandwich, a hot dog is a sandwich.
Yeah.
Because then you'd be like, oh, cold cuts are required. It's like, well, you can make a tuna sandwich in a bread like that. It's the
you can, yeah.
You can't. It's
like hoagies and grinders are essentially connected bread.
Yeah, like that. But you can put whatever you want. It's still a hoagie. Right. It's still a sandwich.
Yes.
You can put whatever you want.
Yeah.
But calling a hot dog a sandwich feels stupid. And I know you agree with me instinctually. Like it's a dumb. Like,
yeah.
I guess it's technically a sandwich, but like, why would you say that?
I don't know.
But I think do you have the same gut reaction that I do?
Yeah. So why do you think people make a distinction? Because a lot of times they do.
Because a hot dog just has the bread in it. In my mind, it's not. It's part of the item.
No. That's what I mean, though. But normally, like if your parents are making you something, they're going to distinguish hot dogs from the other types of sandwiches.
So you want a sandwich? You're never going to hand me a hot dog.
Exactly. And then if you say no, I don't want a sandwich, I want a hot dog. And then they're going to give it to it as a sandwiched item with a hot dog in the middle, sandwiched between breads.
Because then you made that sandwich thing at your house with hot dog, which that to me is like if I told anybody, give me a hot dog sandwich, they're going to like make it in white bread.
Yes.
And like put them, they're going to make it into like a sandwich shape.
Yeah. Melt the cheese and all that stuff.
Even though the shape of a hot dog in a bun completely resembles like a hoagie.
It does.
In shape.
Yes, yeah.
So I don't know, but it feels wrong. There's something not correct about it. And I wonder if it's because the bread in which a hot dog is served is so intrinsic to the item itself that it feels weird to distinguish it.
But that is true about hoagies too.
Like what? Like what?
It's like the kind of bread that's used for it.
Like a sub?
Yeah, it's intrinsic to the nature.
A Subway sandwich. Even though it is a sandwich.
Yes.
Okay. But you would never. You would not be justified in being mad at someone if you had asked for a sandwich and they didn't hand you a sub. Yes. You couldn't be mad about it because you said sandwich, which the sub is a sandwich, but.
Yes, yeah.
You're kind of rolling the dice there. What you're gonna get. You could get a hot dog.
Yeah.
Technically, but no one's going to do that.
Right. So maybe the real flaw is the fact that we call hoagies sandwiches. What if those are just different category the same way a hot dog is? Like what if a sandwich is
like
more
a sub sandwich?
Yeah, because what if a sandwich is better described as simply two regular toasted type of breads? Yeah. Sandwiching piece of meat
because it's completely
because do you think burgers are sandwiches?
They are technically, but you wouldn't I wouldn't ask you for a sandwich and you hand me a cheeseburger.
Exactly.
Even though you wouldn't be wrong,
because in a menu they always say separate them burgers and sandwiches. They might put them under the same.
Burgers are still sandwiches. They are technically,
yes, but I do think we put them differently because I guess of the type of meat that goes in there and
he thinks I'm going to acknowledge him every time he texts me now. He thinks that hot dogs are an open-faced sandwich. No, wrong. If I asked you, Tones, for an open-faced sandwich, you would never hand me a hot dog. And it's not saying that it's not an open-faced sandwich. I don't know that, but that's not. So maybe the category is too broad
for sandwich.
Maybe it's a meaningless category. If we're willing to call that many things,
maybe we just got too indoctrinated in the ideas that these are separate items. It could just be social reaction. Is that we've always thought of burgers and hot dogs as these separate items, that you're not just going to, someone says, can you have me a sandwich and they give you a hot dog? Or can you have me a wrap and you give them a corn dog?
That's anarchy.
I do think conceptually.
I didn't consent to you handing me a hot dog. I said sandwich.
I'm going to start doing that to people now.
Anyway.
I'll bring you a sandwich tomorrow. You got some hot dog.
A hot dog is an item naturally served as a sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
But you would never just call it a sandwich because it's not the item. That doesn't describe the item specifically. So I could say, I'll have a quick bread for breakfast.
A quick bread, yes.
So pancakes, crepes, waffles, etc. But quick bread doesn't describe specifically any of those items.
Right, yes.
I'm going to verb to the store today.
Gonna verb?
Verb. I'm going to verb, like insert verb. Like it's just a category of word.
So you just think it's a broad category?
I think it's a broad category that is used as a specific descriptor for certain items, but then completely rejected for others, kind of arbitrarily.
Yeah. So, but you don't think we should get rid of that large descriptor, right?
No.
Because maybe technically it's like the broader genus. And from the genus, there's different species of that.
I'm thinking instinctually, I would never ask you for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I'd say peanut butter and jelly.
Really? I always say sandwich.
I don't. You're weird though.
Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I think most people that I know say sandwich for that.
They say PB&J.
They say that too. Either say PB&J or they say peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Can you make me peanut butter and jelly?
I don't know
about that. I don't know. I'm thinking of other.
Yeah. So I think
croque madame.
What's croque madame?
Croque monsieur, croque madame. It's like a cold cut sandwich, served with. It's got like toasted cheese and an egg on top.
Yeah.
It's a specific thing.
Okay.
That if you asked for a sandwich, you maybe would receive, but if you were like, I want a Monte Cristo.
Yes.
That's an item that describes a certain specific thing in its
preparation. But it is a type of sandwich.
Mm-hmm. But I would never just... Even that one to me, I guess, formally is like shaped enough like a sandwich.
Yeah.
But I wonder...
But I do think...
I wonder if a hot dog is just so conceptually and culturally its own thing.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's just culture in that sense. Because I do think... If we just look at it rationally speaking, the broader genus is that the broader reality is that this is a genus that encompasses many different items. Yeah. And it's basically...
It's a really, really broad category. That has no...
Right. And so technically, yes, a hot dog is a sandwich.
A toast sandwich is a sandwich. You ever had one of those?
No.
It's a piece of toast with 2 pieces of bread and butter. That's a sandwich.
It's weird.
I know. It's very British.
It's a toast sandwich, Yeah, because you're still sandwiching. Yeah. And so, I think technically it has to be that.
Okay.
But what is a corn dog?
That's breaded and fried sausage. That has nothing to do with it. No. Has nothing to do with. It's a completely separate item.
Yeah. So that's closer. Like that's why you brought up chicken nuggets, because it's breaded and deep fried.
Yeah, that's not a sandwich.
I get that.
Yeah. I could.
Yeah.
You can bread and deep fry many, many, many things, but it's not it's just not a.
Yeah.
It's quote unquote breaded, but it's not a loaf of bread cut or done something with. It's a batter that's then fried. It's a completely categorically different thing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
I actually like corn dogs better than hot dogs, but.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a fantastic with Oh yeah, especially when they actually deep fry it.
Oh, Joe and I have made corn dogs at my house several times.
Did you? Yeah.
I have a big glass that I like dunk them in and stuff.
Oh, really?
Fry them. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Get like andouille sausage and stuff and do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
But yeah, I think that's probably my favorite. So like the study of like categories and stuff, is that ontology? What is that?
Oh,
where does that fall?
Yeah, I would think that's ontology.
That's
different categories.
As far as like what triggers my autism and like gets me excited, is when someone's like gives me 2 items, and I have to like categorize them and like compare them and stuff. So when someone's like, it's a hot dog, a sandwich, I get really excited.
Yeah.
Like as far as like, you know,
like, it's taxonomy, but I guess taxonomy would be a subcategory of ontology.
I really love it.
Yeah.
I can go for hours just like, is this thing this thing?
Yeah, because you're trying to decide what are the like I guess the essential qualities
I really enjoy it. And I think that's when we have like our music discussions.
Yeah.
My understanding of music theory and techniques and stuff gives me a little bit more taxonomical knowledge of how to categorize stuff.
Yeah.
But I think your point that nothing's necessarily like better, quote unquote, than others.
I never claimed that. I only claim that there is a distinction between like Beethoven and then pop music. Yeah. And then I think in pop music you could have different subcategories, but I still would have them under the umbrella of that. Yeah. Whether they're mainstream or indie, I do think that and then you have rock music or you have subcategories within that.
And
right?
I could explain to you
because
with my knowledge of music theory and technique and production stuff, I can tell you what they're doing that makes sense.
1960s and 70s classical rock is different than hair metal rock.
Yeah.
But there are, I guess,
which is real
intrinsic qualities that they share that we still categorize them as rock music. And that's
sometimes that relationship is only historical. Sometimes it's these people knew these people knew these people knew these people knew these people, because
but also if you were to drop somebody that does not know the history, they still would categorize them similarly. Yeah, like
what qualities would you say rock music has that?
Like country versus country?
Yeah.
So that's the part that I would say I don't know. Like for me, a lot of it just intuition. It's like you hear it.
Yeah, you can hear it.
Yeah, you could hear it, but
I think I'm enough of a nerd that I could tell you things about it. But
right, yeah. And I think all that stuff is proper. Like if you could dissect it more, but I do think many times the intuition would tell you there's a difference between hip hop, pop music, rock music, country music,
and those blend all the time. So it's not, you can't say there's a hard distinction.
Right. But then when you take all of those species of variety, they're all species of already kind of music that is like fundamentally different than the Ninth Symphony or whatever. And so when you have that, I do think that the only thing that I was making that I think got way out of hand when we
were egging me on in a way that was fun. Like that was
yes,
fun.
yeah. I think, but like I think to discuss it without being like emotional about it. The only distinction I was making was that. Is I do think when you dig deeper into those, then it becomes a subject of taste. Yeah. As to
it does at some point.
Which one you like better, which I am fine with. Like we could begin to discuss, okay, why does one like this better or why does one like that better? Because like many times I would say, like Spanish music, I think is better dance music than normally what I hear with any kind of Anglo or black people dance music. Yeah. I think there's something fundamentally better with that. But am I correct ontologically? Probably not. It might just be taste.
Well, especially when you say dance music, is it music that makes you dance? Does it make you dance or not?
Yes, yeah.
If it does, yes. If it doesn't, then no.
Right, yeah.
And to you, that's not effective dance music for you.
Yes, yeah. But also I do think like the kind of dances they do, you see the kind of like the way.
But here's an interesting analogy. I don't know an analogy or whatever, but let's say you have I don't know, any novel.
Yeah.
Is any you have the brothers Karamazov or however you say it by Dostoevsky.
Yeah.
And then you have the Summa Theologica.
Yeah.
Which one is better writing? like just the quality of writing, the style. You can't really.
You can, and so that's why I normally qualify it.
Yeah,
that's why I normally qualify.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yes, but I'm making that point.
Yes,
is that what you can prefer the style of one over the other.
Exactly. Yeah.
One of them contains more truth value.
Yes.
Literally. That doesn't mean that the Brothers Karamazov isn't proportionally true.
Yeah. But again, that's where I have the different categories of like Beethoven.
Yes.
Compared to all the other ones. I do think that there is something more significant and profound about.
Because I would actually say that as far as the necessitating understanding of music theory, some jazz that you would hate requires more knowledge of music theory than Beethoven did, as far as understanding the structure of how music works. That's only because
maybe I don't know. I honestly have not listened to enough jazz to ever.
No, but I'm saying structurally, technically, the knowledge is generally nothing about what Beethoven wrote makes any music theorist think he knew more than like jazz musicians. That doesn't mean that it's better or not. There's more knowledge required to. I don't know if Beethoven could literally just improvise over something Miles Davis put together, but because they're literate in music theory in a way that he didn't even necessarily need to be. Yeah. So I think that was when we had that conversation a while ago. I think that was kind of what I was thinking, but wasn't articulating, is that if you're talking about music, like the theory of music and how it works, there's music that you might not necessarily enjoy that actually displays a working knowledge of music better. But because music is art and isn't like a treatise on ontology, the purpose of music is to move one aesthetically. Yes. Right. It's not a philosophical work per se.
But I do think like with atonal music, it does become depraved. Yeah. Because it ceases to be like one can make the claim that you have to be more knowledgeable about music theory to produce atonal music, because you have to be more knowledgeable
about how it doesn't work.
Yes, because you do have to know about it in order to distort it, like to purposefully distort it.
To me, atonal music is like Foucault almost.
It's crazy.
Well, I can make stuff that sounds bad all day.
Yes, but they do it in a certain way that I think it does
like take satanic.
Yes, like it does take an immense amount of knowledge and forethought. It isn't chaos and just feel the music come out of you. Yeah. They're deliberately attempting to distort it, which I would say those people would, and so it could be the case that one has more. I guess the musician.
You're talking about the atonal movement of like the late 19th century and stuff.
Yes, more so than Beethoven. Yeah, I probably would agree probably with jazz musicians as well. I have no problem agreeing with those assertions. But I think in the end, what I am saying is that the way that music is, I guess, presented. I don't know what to say. Produced, presented, whatever. You know, the way that it exists. Yeah. I would say that jazz is categorically different than most other pop music, because there is a difference there, right? Yeah. The way that it is, and people who love to listen to jazz, in a way, won't really enjoy other type of music that's.
But it's also less cerebral.
Right. Yes.
It's a lot of the reason you wouldn't like any novel you pick up for. Yes, like this doesn't do anything for me.
It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so that's why I think once we could decipher, which ones are actually objectively good, then we could talk about what type of taste one has. But then I think once you talk about the taste, it doesn't really pertain to, I guess, the truth value of it, because there are people. Like I don't know if you met people like this that just they love the reason why I use dance music is I always found it kind of absurd. There was this one somebody that I went to college with, and she was like this small little white girl, and so then but when you go into her car, it's like blasting fucking Lil Jon or Lil Wayne or whatever, and it was bizarre. Like you're driving to class in an early morning, and you're listening to.
The gangster rap kind
skeet motherfucker. It's like, what the fuck? Why is this something that you're listening to? But it's just like when it becomes
something.
Yeah, when it becomes an object of taste, it's like some people don't like anything that has like a slow build up to a climax in a song. It's fine. Like we could talk about technically why these ones are better and take more skill.
And they might display a greater working knowledge of how music works.
Right, yes. But it doesn't mean that necessarily...
But because it's art, it's different than...
Not just I wouldn't say... I don't think it's just because it's art, but I think because now we're talking about taste. Because whether it's anything, right? There could be... I know many people that say they believe Aquinas is right,
so here,
but they cannot read him because they find him utterly boring.
So that does he's not
incomprehensible.
For them.
Yes, for them it's actually
it's
easier
useless.
to read Augustine. It's easier to read because it's too heady and it's too much jargon.
So you're saying that means that Aquinas is not technically better than Augustine.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that once we begin to talk about taste, it's a different discussion.
So what
we could talk
would
about
it take for so what about a more articulate working knowledge of music does not make one kind of music better than the other, even if you don't prefer it?
Because the difference that I'm making is that if we're talking about it that way, we can talk about which one is better or not.
Which is what I mean when I say better. I don't mean it in any other way.
What I mean is that then there is a different mode of conversation where people then say, because it is better, you must enjoy this than the other one.
Which is not a necessary conversation to have, and not the conversation I'm trying to have.
Yes, but and when we started the discussion, I'm saying that most millennials, both late millennials and early millennials... I listened
back to that again kind of recently. We were talking past each other.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, we were not...
Yes, because...
We were having separate conversations that were really chaotically...
Right,
colliding and it's like beautiful screaming match. I'm literally screaming about Pitbull or something.
Yeah. because what I was saying was that when they then interject that because you don't like this, therefore I don't want to talk to you. You're not part of me, that I am so much better because of it. I was like, well, now it's like different. I talk to many people that can't read Aquinas.
Of course. Yeah.
I have no problem. But then I tell them to read Phaser because Phaser is much more easier to read.
Much more colloquial.
Yeah, they're going to understand Phaser. They're going to still get at the truth. They're still going to get whatever from this, even though I would say if you actually want to read work that is even better articulated than Phaser, you should be reading the actual Summa Theologica, or you should be reading the actual Summa Contra Gentiles, because this is what Phaser is trying to reinterpret for you. And he's using it colloquially. And so when I listen to pop music, for me, it's like, yes, this is for the common person to simply enjoy and manifest beauty in their life. That's what it is. Now you're going to have musicians. Musicians tend to listen to a different breed of music. That's fine.
In the same way that you would read something.
Exactly. They're the same way that I would rather read Aquinas in the original. Not only in the original, I like to read him in Latin. Yeah. Right? I never go to somebody and be like, you don't read them in Latin? It's like, okay, I'm just being a dick at that point.
And you know that people would do that.
Yes, I know. They are, and it annoys the fuck out of me. But I do the same thing, and that's all I was saying about the millennial generation. Yes. That is what they do to everybody.
But then I think I was trying to say things that I think were technically better. Than other things.
Which is fine,
which was true.
Yeah.
But then you would come back at me as if you were responding to a millennial, and I was coming back to you as if you were responding to me It was this whole thing. I was like, that was a mess. That is the most disjointed conversation we've ever had.
You're passionately.
Yeah, because I just think that
Yeah.
I wasn't having the right. We weren't having the right conversation for me to say what I was trying to say.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think you probably took it more of an attack on you, which it really wasn't.
No.
It was just an attack on a certain mentality that I've met people.
Yes.
Within
No,
that
I
particular
get that. And
generation.
I think that it was just whole different levels of.
Oh yeah.
Not saying the same thing.
Yeah. I thought it was still fun.
No, it was very fun. That was
Yeah.
probably our most explosive one.
Oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
it definitely
Anne
was.
Marie always brings out this weird, like,
Yeah.
explosive quality
Yes.
to
Yeah,
conversations. I don't know what that is. I don't know
Yeah.
if she gets our guard down or something, or
yeah. I'm not sure.
because I never yell at you if she's not here, but if she's here, I'll yell at you every
Yes.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe she eggs us on in a weird
She barely
way.
says anything.
I know, but I don't know what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I don't know because that one time we recorded with her in the last few months.
Yeah.
We did like all of it. We were like overly emotional. I got weepy. I yelled at you. You yelled. We
Yeah.
did like all of the.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that? Was that about the math?
No, that was in the original run. There were 3
Oh, was
episodes
it?
in a row where I yelled at you. One was
Oh,
about
yeah,
music. One was about music, and then the other was about math.
Yeah.
They were
yeah.
all back to back.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah.
a very emotional triad of episodes. I don't even know what
Yeah.
they're called, but
Yeah.
but something. And then she comes back after like months of not recording with us, and we're back like yelling.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, why does Anne Marie do this to us?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Anyway, you keep checking your phone. Do you need to go?
I'm not checking my phone.
Oh,
My
you're
phone is
checking.
upside
Oh,
down,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
This is just weird. I think I have to tighten it
Yeah,
because this is already fully tightened. But look at that.
yeah. It's because they keep ruining all
So
of our
this-
stuff.
That's
You'll have to figure that out.
mhm.
Buy new ones.
Yeah. We should do it the most
Patreon riches.
I know. Yes.
You can buy us a new mic stand.
Yes,
This one
yeah.
that got broken by people who don't care about our stuff.
I know. Then
Yeah,
it'll be good if we didn't have to like rent it out anymore because we could just always have things in place.
I know.
Record daily.
Never
That'd be
have to
beautiful.
remove anything.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Like today was a quick setup besides the logging in fiasco.
I know.
But yeah, if it was that easy, we could easily record 30-minute episodes.
Just walk in, boop, hit
Yep.
play, done, go.
Yeah. That'd be good.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have to be an evening one because I do think to get all the stories
I
in
know.
place would be
Yeah,
good.
we never want to miss a beat,
Yeah.
miss a story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, we good?
Yeah. I'm good.
Anyway, we'll talk to you later.
Right.
Switch the thing over.
Bye.
Bye.